Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Fashion Recaps. As usual, there are a lot of announcements that came out. Some announcements for collabs, some announcements for people stepping down from their brands, and just overall interesting updates about the fashion industry in general. I'm Adriana, and thanks for joining me. So let's jump in. Okay, just a couple of updates of things that I mentioned previously. So Tyler the Creator's collab with Louis Vuitton finally came out, and as everyone expected, that thing out of there. My Pisces king, my creative soulmate. I feel like me and Tyler the Creator would be best friends if we met, so I just want Tyler to be my friend. But anyway, so his collection came out and it's sold out now. So I actually went to the Louis Vuitton store in North Park on Friday thinking I was going to get something, but it was gone. So here we are. Because of the success of it, I'm sure that they're going to let him do another capsule collection soon. And because Pharrell is there and I know Pharrell is going to let Tyler do something else. So maybe next time my sales associate will actually do what I asked and put my item aside or let me pre-order. But anyway, I don't want to, this is getting personal, so let's move on. So I don't remember if I mentioned this on YouTube or if I only spammed my Instagram followers with the information, but streetwear brand Palace and Gap had a collab that came out. It released on Friday. I did buy several pieces. I bought a couple of things for myself. I bought one of the skateboard decks for my sister, and then I bought several things for my nephew. So we'll see what that looks like when it comes in. It's Gap, so I mean the quality is there. I did notice that it sold out on the Palace website, but Gap still has some of the pieces, so you may still be able to get some of those things if you're interested. Speaking of streetwear collabs, Stussy and Levi announced that they have a collab that's coming out soon. I'm sure it'll just be denim, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll buy something from that collection too. I do need some shorts. And I also still need jeans. I think I mentioned this on my first ever YouTube video that I need some jeans. So last week I mentioned that Courrèges had their bag that's 99% air that they debuted down the runway in Paris Fashion Week. And this week they announced a bag that's made fully from Meteor Rock and the price on it is $45K. I mean, I see where they're going. I like this whole space or making bags out of different material because they also had that glass bag that was really cool maybe like a year or two ago. We'll see how many people have that $45K Meteor Rock bag. I think that's a good collector's piece if you have $45,000 for something like that. Or you could just buy a Birkin. But if you have the money to buy that, you should get it. I probably would, honestly. If I had $45,000 to just blow on a bag, I would probably buy the Meteor Rock bag too. So, Nicolas De Felice was just announced as the newest guest collaborator for Jean Paul Gaultier. If you don't know, Jean Paul Gaultier has been doing a lot of just guest pop-ins for creative directors for the past like maybe a year or 2 years. Simone Rocha just did one and I loved her collection. I'm very interested. I want to know what the criteria is for how they're choosing who gets to be a guest collaborator. Because I was going to say that the creative director for Courrèges being the newest guest designer for Jean Paul Gaultier is interesting. But I remembered that Glenn Martins did it recently, maybe before Simone Rocha. I'll have to look it up. But I know that Glenn Martins had a collection with Jean Paul Gaultier recently. And he is the designer for Y Project and Diesel. And I guess Courrèges is about the same. It's in the same vein, or I would consider it the same family of products as, they probably have the same consumer. That's what I'm trying to say. Courrèges, Y Project, and Diesel probably have the same target audience. So I guess it would be cool to see what he does with Jean Paul Gaultier. I don't know. That Simone Rocha collection was just so fire. It's going to be hard to follow that up, but I guess we'll see. Nicolas did previously work with Nicolas Ghesquière. He worked with him at Louis Vuitton and at Balenciaga. And then also he worked with Raf at Dior for a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm just curious. I want to know what the criteria is for them picking these guest designers for Jean Paul Gaultier. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it at that. So Keurig sales are down. Keurig, whatever. I'm from Texas. Their sales are down. Let's just, whatever. Keurig sales are down and they're blaming Gucci. They're not blaming Gucci. Okay. Let me stop being childish. Keurig sales are down and the decrease is being driven by Gucci sales. Gucci sales are down 20% for the first quarter, and it just keeps getting worse, honestly. Anyway, but what's funny is Gucci is still going forward with their whole expansion of being more exclusive. They're still going to go ahead and do the Gucci Solange, which caters to more of a high-end offering, which more expensive items. They still, a few years ago, they pulled their bags and a lot of their products from Neiman's and Nordstrom. So they used to have a Gucci boutique in the Neiman Marcus in North Park, but they took it away. Now you can only get shoes and some jewelry, not even the high-end pieces, the costume jewelry at Neiman Marcus. I have a scream. So I'm trying to choose my words wisely, even though I don't care enough to sugarcoat it, but I think it's so funny when a black woman starts something off with that. You know it's about to get a little ignorant, but I think it's so interesting, rather, that Gucci is trying to be all super exclusive. When I think of Gucci, I don't even think of them. Obviously, they're peers with, you know, the Balmains, the Louis Vuitton. Like, Gucci is, of course, a designer luxury brand, but I don't think of them as an Hermès or a Chanel, or even, honestly, I don't even think of them as a Goyard, to where they're super exclusive and they can afford to not be in certain stores. I think what the issue is, and that's with a lot of these designers and a lot of these fashion houses recently, within the past decade or so, or maybe 2 decades, minorities have started to make more money. And they've gotten access to, or been able to have access to, more expensive things. And so where you keep on saying the word exclusive and you want things to be coveted and you want it to be luxury again, just say you don't want minorities and black and brown people to wear your items, and because more of them are, you feel like it's not exclusive anymore. When you're not realizing that there's still a lot of poor people that can't afford it. It's just more rich people that are black and brown now that can. So Gucci, you don't have to take your stuff out of Neiman Marcus and take your stuff out of these places and create Gucci salons for more high-end products. You don't have to do that. A lot of people are not spending a lot of money. Only a certain small select few people are spending a certain amount of money on things anyway. So it's already exclusive. Let it go. You will never compete with Chanel. You will never compete with Hermès. So just let it go. Just put the shit back in Neiman Marcus and stop playing. Like, your sales will keep going up, or they'll go back up, rather, because you're not making no money right now. You're not making as money as you could be making if you didn't have a fucking stick up your ass. But anyway, moving right along. But according to Citibank's credit card data, luxury sales in the U.S. in general have been down about 15% since February. Year over year in February. So, y'all not making no money, like I said. Just stop. Dries Van Noten stepping down from his brand, and it saddens me because I bought my first Dries piece around 2016, 17 maybe, while I worked in luxury retail still. And I love that piece. I just recently bought another Dries bag, like a little furry clutch. Maybe I'll post a picture. I don't think I have any decent pictures of me carrying it, but... And so I was just getting back in the swing of it. Like, I think I finally hit the age where I was old enough to appreciate the actual design of it, the beautiful simplicity of it all. And now he stepped down from his brand. He said he's still going to be active and he's still going to work with the brand, but he's not going to design anymore. And that just really makes me sad. Like, I just got here. Oh, shoot. It's about to storm. I wonder why it start getting darker in my house and the lights start changing on the camera. It's about to thunderstorm. Let me hurry up and finish recording before things go crazy over here and it gets super dark and my lighting is completely gone. Anyway, so Dries' last collection will be in June, and I'm sure I'll be able to snag some pieces from the Essence sale whenever they do another, whenever Essence has another sale. I'll just get all the Dries stuff that they have. Yeah, this sucks. Moving on. I don't want to talk about this anymore because, again, I just got here. Pierpaolo is leaving Valentino after 25 years, and that is nuts to me to even think about. He started with the brand in 99. I believe he led accessories at the time, and then he became a joint creative director with Maria Chiuri. She used to work for a couple of brands, but now she's the creative director for Dior. And then he became the creative director on his own around 2016, I believe. I'm gonna look that up when I'm editing, and if I'm wrong, I'll pop in the actual date. But I want to say he started in 2016 as his own creative director without the partnership with Maria. So over the past 20 years, Valentino has brought so many things. Most recently that I can think of, the number one thing I can think of is the PP Pink that became popular a little bit before Barbiecore and the Barbie movie came out. More sadness. It's just sad. Like, so much is happening in fashion, and it's not even that there's a drought of beauty.
But it's a famine of beauty. It's a famine of beauty. It's a famine of beauty, honey. My eyes are starving for beauty.
Like, it's not even that I'm sad that these people are stepping down, because obviously they're getting older. I feel like maybe it's because I feel like I'm getting older. Like, all of these people that have been at these houses since I even began my love affair with fashion, and they're leaving now. So it's like, well, if it wasn't creative, now it's not getting creative anymore. But then, now that I'm about to start that sentence, I'm thinking maybe things will start getting interesting again in fashion. I've been complaining for the past 6 months about fashion being boring now, and maybe what we need is all of those older people to step down and leave, and then some new fresh talent to come back. So maybe this will help. I hate to see Dries go. I hate to see Pierpaolo go, but maybe they'll bring in some fresh talent. Things will get interesting on the runway again, because I'm sure there's so many creative directors and up-and-coming designers that have had all of these thoughts and ideas for what they would do for a certain house if they had the chance, and now we're going to be able to see what they're going to bring to the table, but they're leaving. Also, the Balmain CEO is stepping down, but he really doesn't have anything to do with design, so Olivier is still going to be there as far as we know. So yeah, he's just stepping down, which it was just random, more fashion breakups. Little tidbit, Beyonce released. Beyonce has nothing to do with fashion. This is not even fashion related, but I feel like since I've been talking about Beyonce for the past like 2 months, now I have to give an update every week about what Beyonce is doing since that album comes out next week. But Beyonce released her album cover, and there was a lot of hullabaloo around it, lots of theories about what it means. Apparently the horse she's on, it's a specific breed of horse that is born black, but then it eventually turns white. And people are saying that kind of ties into the history of country music, where black people started it and then white people kind of took over it and are gatekeeping it now. She's carrying a flag. People are saying there's no stars on the flag, but I really think the picture is just cropped so you can't see the stars on the flag. Anyway, and then also she released an alternate cover that I believe is only for the vinyl albums or vinyl records, and she doesn't have anything on. And she has wearing a sash that says Act 2 Beyonce. And, you know, everybody who is a small fan of Beyonce even knows that Beyonce is how you actually, well, I just learned another side story about that. So I don't know if it's how you actually spell her mom's maiden name or if it's the misspelling that was given, because apparently there's a story that the last name Beyonce was misspelled on a couple of birth certificates back in the day for Tina and a couple of her family members, and the nurses basically told them, well, Some black people don't get a birth certificate at all, so just be glad you have a birth certificate at all, so it was never fixed. So I don't know the full story of if it's actually spelled Beyonce and they changed it for Beyonce's first name, or if it was actually Beyonce the whole time and it's misspelled as Beyonce on birth certificates. But either way, whatever. That was a long spiel or story about nothing that matters, but she's wearing a sash that says it on the alternate album cover. And that was styled by Marnie, who has styled her a couple of times and has styled so many other people too. But yeah, that's my Beyonce update for the week. Don't ask me nothing else, okay? I don't know. The album come out on the 29th, I think. Okay. This is about to get real messy. This is funny. So, Hermés somebody just filed a class action lawsuit against Hermés claiming that they're scammers. No. So basically the lawsuit is that people are upset because of the game you have to play at Hermés. If you don't know, if you're watching this, I'm sure you do know, but if you don't know, you can't just walk into an Hermés and buy a Birkin or a Kelly in some cases, or a couple of other bags actually. You have to build a relationship with the brand. You have to have a history of buying other items. So then they'll know, okay, she can get this Birkin now. And two people, I believe there's going to be more though. As of this recording, there's only two. They filed a lawsuit against them saying that you shouldn't be able to do that. And I agree to some extent. I've heard a couple of people say that the whole game around the Birkin is that's the mystique of it. That's if people want to play the game because then it feels more exclusive and you can buy it and all this and this. I just told you how I felt about that exclusivity shit. I think it's borderline racist. I really do. Now, when I buy something, sometimes I'll care if other people have it, but usually I don't buy things that I know a lot of people will buy anyway. So I have a love-hate relationship with the term exclusive. I really do. Maybe it's because I've been poor before and I've had to work my way up to being able to afford these things. And so I feel like if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. If you could afford a Birkin, you're going to get that Birkin in due time. You may not get it when you want to get it. It may not be the one that you want. You may have to still wait for it, but you're going to get a Birkin. You can go get it pre-loved. You can go to what goes around comes around. You can go to so many places to find a brand new Birkin or a used Birkin that looks brand new. If you want a Birkin, if you can afford that. If you can't afford a Birkin, you can't afford a Birkin. It's still playing the game doesn't matter. I don't feel like any super wealthy people give a fuck about playing that game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't understand. Now, like I said, I can see the other side where it's it's exclusive. I want to have exclusive items. It's special. These are collector's items. But only people that can afford the collector's items are even caring enough. If you want a Birkin, you gonna get a Birkin. And that's just it. Anyway, I don't know, but that's how I feel about it. I've seen people, and I've known two people in my everyday life that they didn't want to play the Hermès game. They didn't care to play it. So they got a Birkin pre-love from somewhere else and it looks brand new. So again, I'm going to say, that game does not matter. If you want to buy a Birkin, you're going to buy a Birkin, and you're going to find ways to buy the Birkin. Do I understand the wait list? Yes. Do I understand all of the other stuff behind it? Yes, I get it. Because even at Chanel, you can only buy a certain number of bags a year. So I understand what they're trying to do, and I get the sentiment behind it, or behind all of the uproar about it. But I mean, this just sounds like a whole bunch of people that's mad because they want a Birkin and they had to spend a whole bunch of money before they got the Birkin. You was gonna buy something else anyway. If you was gonna buy a Birkin, you might not have bought a bracelet from Hermès. You might not have bought a blanket from Hermès. You might not have bought earrings or whatever you bought to build up your rapport with the company or the store to then be offered a Birkin. But you would have bought it from somewhere else anyway. Because again, if you're gonna buy, Birkins are for a specific set of people. If you was gonna buy that, you'd be spending your money on other bullshit too. So you might as well just play the game, bro. I don't even, whatever. Whatever. Anyway, I feel like this is a first world problem, to be honest. It sucks. It's gonna change a lot in the industry. I said it sucks, but it really doesn't. It's gonna change a lot in the industry. I feel like if the people win the lawsuit, I don't know. I honestly don't know what it could possibly do for just the handbag or just the exclusivity part of luxury fashion in general, but I think this is just a first world problem. Like I've said several times, say it with me. If you want a Birkin and you can afford a Birkin, you're going to get a Birkin. And that's it. Games or not. So I hope these people win, only because I always like to see people win against major brands. I don't really care what they sue it for. I like to see people win lawsuits. Somebody once told me, poor people are always trying to sue. Now, these people aren't poor, but I like when people sue people and get what they deserve. So that is it for the week. I don't have any other fashion updates. Last week I did say that I was going to do an episode about like people who don't get their just due in the fashion industry and they deserve more clout. But now that I'm losing daylight because God is angry and there's a thunderstorm brewing, that is going to have to be a whole different video. So maybe I'll record it like something small, because I really only want to talk about one person that's in my head. But once I start doing research on that, I'm sure I'll think of other people to add to the video. But at any rate, we're done with this video. So I'm going to sign off. Thanks for coming back. If you're new, thanks for joining me. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Just keep running those views up. I need 150 subscribers by the end of the summer. Right now I have 51. I feel like I can do it. So make sure you tell a friend and tell a friend. And yeah, have a good week.